Hello everybody, I'm going to review the second look back episode for Sister Wives, and it is good. Hi everybody, my name is Jenny and this channel is called Senior Perspective. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here, and let's talk about the second look back episode. People, I have so many notes on this episode. The first look back episode was wah wah wah, but this one delivered. Yeah! So I doubt this is all going to be in one review. If when I start editing it goes over an hour, I will cut it up and I will send this out in 2 episodes. All right, business out of the way, let's get going. This look back opens up where the last one left off, and that is Robyn running off crying because she saw a video of their commitment ceremony.
Sometimes I don't know when you're kidding.
I can't watch this.
As soon as Kody started reading the mission statement,
I can't watch this. I can't watch this. I'm sorry, I need a break. Oh, gosh, I can't. Oh,
Mery starts off saying, I am so mad at every one of us. We failed, and it's heartbreaking to me.
I am so mad at us. Every single one of us. We failed ourselves.
I can see that because Mery's got to be pretty lonely when it comes to family. I don't know how much family still is in contact with Mery. I know a lot of the kids resent her and don't want to talk to her anymore. So I'm hoping that people like Isabel and her were very close growing up. Mery was like the go-to person for Isabel. So I'm hoping that a relationship like that still exists and that Isabel takes the opportunity to go visit Mery every now and then, or call or text or something. I don't know. Christine's reaction to the commitment ceremony was, it was a special day. It's so expected how everyone's going to respond to all these, right? We have Christine's always the happiest about everything, about like, oh goody, let's reflect back.
that's one of my things that I've decided that even though I've left Kody and left the family and everything, that's one of those days that was special.
Janelle and Mery are kind of in the middle with, all right, let's see about this. Janelle tends to err on the side of, well, those were good times. And Mery tends to err on the side of, those were good, but I wish it were still that way. Understandably, because Janelle and Christine still have 6 kids of their own, so they have big families. Whereas Mery has just Leon, and Janelle and Christine's kids are all very close. And I don't know if Leon is as close with all of them, and that could just be geographically because Leon lives in Chicago.
We all poured our heart and soul into the mission statement. We had to bring in Nancy, our family counselor, to help us, and I resonated with it.
Kody's reaction to the mission statement was,
I felt like I was so inspired. And we just failed to abide by it, I guess.
which I thought was a great response. I'm not used to great responses from Kody, but he couldn't leave it there. He couldn't do it. He couldn't leave it at an intelligent, thoughtful response that doesn't accuse anybody of something. He had to throw in one more line, and that line is,
There just wasn't enough loyalty in the family.
Not that again.
there just wasn't enough loyalty in the family. That was the demise of the family. The wives no longer blindly followed Kody and bowed down to him and did everything that he asked.
It's called loyalty.
Their minds grew, their voices grew, and they became independent women. Now, you can be an independent woman and still be in a marriage. I'm a very independent woman, extremely independent, but still married. Kody couldn't handle that, though. He can't handle an independent woman under his tutelage. So they all have to go when they get minds and thoughts, God forbid, and opinions. Hey, be gone, woman.
Because you're scared of women with an opinion. No. Yeah?
Now we're going to start a new game. I'm going to have you see how many times we see Kody's cheek normal. Sometimes there's one dot. Although I don't know if it's in this episode or if it was the last look back where sometimes there was 1 dot, because what I noticed this time is sometimes there's 2 dots on his cheek. And we can see the most amazing thing is sometimes it goes from completely clean cheek to 2 dots, back to clean cheek, back to 2 dots. I understand with editing the way things go, but it seemed like the questions were in sequential order, so the disappearing dots confused me and distracted me. Maybe I'm a little OCD, I admit. I just kept going, where did the dots go? The dots are back. Okay, so we're all on dot alert. Let's continue. So Robyn eventually returns from her crying fit that she had in the bathroom, I suppose. And the director asked her if she's okay. And she says, not really, but...
Sorry about that.
You okay?
Not really, but...
Okay, Robyn, for future reference, when people say, are you okay? Unless something's seriously wrong with you, the answer is, yes, I'm fine, right? Because we all have bad days. We all have things going wrong in our lives.
You know it.
We all have trials and tribulations and things on our mind. And there's no way on a given day when people say, hey, how are you today? That I don't just say, I'm fine. There's no way I start to divulge everything that's wrong in my life. We don't need to hear it. We all have problems, Robyn. Just say, yes, I'm fine, and move on. Gosh. Such a victim to run out, and then she comes back and has to continue to play that card. You know, it's becoming completely meaningless.
She's like the boy who cried wolf.
Robyn goes on to just say, I just can't watch any more of it. Looking back at that time and knowing my reality now. Yeah, I agree it's sad. I don't think it's worthy of getting up and freaking out and banging at the iPad and running off to the bathroom and crying. I mean, when I think of the trials and tribulations and struggles of some of the people I know in my life and what they're going through and what they're dealing with, I can't even comprehend how they get up in the morning. I know some people who it just doesn't seem fair. The amount of burdens and strife and turmoil and problems and medical issues and financial issues. And some people have so many of them that they're dealing with that I'm just I don't know what else to do besides pray because it's so overwhelming. And here's Robyn, who's freaking out over looking at a happy time in her life. Move on, Robyn. You still have your husband and all your kids. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad.
My God, pull yourself together!
We have a little bit of a flashback now to some of the trips that they took in the past. Janelle acknowledges that their trips away were a lot of fun.
If a woman decides to let down her guard and really embrace who we are, she's gonna find it's a girl party.
And all girls love girl parties.
Yeah.
Mery admits there's a different dynamic when Cody's there and when Cody's not there. We could loosen up more when he's not there.
That's your breaks. Just move around, get comfortable. I'll put some cones out for you. You can try squeeze around behind these once you get comfy.
You guys suck sometimes. We're going diagonal. Woo!
This is so much fun.
Christine acknowledged, I liked the 4 of us hanging out because it's just easier to be a sister wife than it is to be a wife. And Robyn chimes in with the same sentiment. No, she doesn't. Of course.
No.
Come on. Have I taught you nothing? Robyn's a victim.
Oh, right.
Robyn looks at these fond memories of them in the past and says, yeah, they were good memories, but now I sit here and wonder if they were real. I can't. Robyn, I just looked at them on video, but I don't know if it was real. I can't with her. Really, I can't. I'm so over it. I just had a couple notes that I was jotting down as I was watching it that was like, how can you not look back on good times in your life with fondness? How sad of a person do you have to be inside that you can't look back? I mean, yes, it's bittersweet. Sure, I look at pictures of my kids when they were small and tiny and just scrumptious and lovable, and they were all full of hugs and yes, moms. Absolutely miss those days, 100%. But when I look at the pictures, I smile. Robyn can't smile. She's just miserable. So our flashbacks so far have been the commitment ceremony, which made Robyn cry and freak out and run out of the room. And then happy memories of the sister wives all going on trips together. And her response to that was she doesn't know if it was even real. What a joy this woman is, right? Gosh, what a blessing she must be to hang around. Can you imagine having her in your life on a daily basis? My goodness, Eeyore times 10.
Good morning, Christopher Robin.
Oh, good morning, Winnie the Pooh.
Good morning, Pooh Bear.
Good morning, Pooh Bear.
If it is a good morning, which I doubt.
We just need to get you tigerized.
All right, we cut to Mery, who says that we're all not close right now. And Mery, intellectually and emotionally strong, adds, I don't ever want to think that those close memories were a lie. Good job, Mery. Don't just say it was all a lie. You saw it. She adds, she is here and she is open to a healthy kind of relationship with anyone who's willing to come to her. She adds she's also not holding her breath that that's going to happen. Oh, I'll hold my breath for you, Mery. I want the three of you together. I do.
Yeah, it's probably my best revenge plan ever.
I mean, I don't know if it's because lately I've gotten a softer and softer heart for Mery in kind of watching her. I mean, I just couldn't handle her immaturity and fussiness and inability to listen and apply things in her life. I just was over her and her attitude, I guess. But it seems very changed now. She really seems to have grown up a lot, which is really interesting, right? Kody gets all these ladies when they're very young, like 19 years old, and just squashes them, and he's the head of the family, and he keeps them where they are. They had a difficult time all these years growing and maturing because he didn't want that. He wasn't an advocate for think for yourself and have your own opinion. He got upset every time they had opinions. Oh, my wives all have opinions. I'm supposed to be the one in charge. Why are they not listening to me? Ugh. So here, as soon as they step away from him, man, these women are blossoming. It's amazing, isn't it? In terms of relationships with sister wives, Christine says that she trusts Janelle and she'll spend time with her. But she adds, I don't foresee having a relationship with Mery or Robyn. Did you hear that? I like how she left the door open.
Are you sure?
I wouldn't read too much into it.
I don't foresee. There wasn't a, Didn't she used to say that in the past? I swear in the past, Christine was like, I am not going to have a relationship with Mery and Robyn or Kody beyond it. I think she even said she never wanted to talk to Kody again. And she's flipped the script a little bit as she's gotten out there in the world and grown up and matured and just put all the BS behind. She even said on that last episode that she was open to having a friendship with Kody again. That's huge. And it's because she's so over him. There's no threat of jealousy at all anymore. So I swear she said in the past no to Robyn and Mery in the future, but I like how she said, I still can't picture her becoming friends with Robyn, but nevertheless, simply because she never was. She at least was friends with Mery in the past and had fun with her. I never saw her really have fun with Robyn ever. So she says she doesn't foresee. I can't picture it, but anything can happen.
We'll see.
Okay, now we go to the adoption topic. Robyn said that her kids wanted to be adopted by Kody, and Mery offered up the divorce to make that happen. Interesting how that sequence of events happened, right? On the show, they kept portraying it as this was all Mery's idea. And Kody and Robyn just like, whoa, what a great sacrificing gift. Thank you. The truth has been coming out more and more lately, and as upset and torn up as Mery was about it, I do not think it was her idea. Not that I'm saying Robyn or Kody specifically told her, we need you to do this, but boy, the guilt trip and the planting of the seeds, and Kody probably saying, whoa, I would be indebted to you forever if we actually got the legal divorce and I could adopt Robyn's kids. I can see that happening. Mery says, was it hard on me emotionally? Yeah, really hard. Well, we saw that in the episode. She was devastated. She was crying as she's signing the paperwork. I mean, it was a rough scene. That was back when I didn't like Mery at all. And I remember my heartstrings being tugged and thinking, oh, I don't know if this is right.
This one's a little bit hard.
I just had an appointment with a lawyer about getting a legal divorce so that you guys can get married and then try to adopt the kids.
Studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sister,
And full thing there too.
I would love somebody who is a lawyer out there to let me know, how is it that David Jessup just couldn't have given up his rights to the kids, and then Robyn would be the sole parent? Once he gives up his rights, that's it. That's it. Then it's whatever the will says for Robyn, as I understand it. But I might be completely off base. After the man completely signed away his rights to the kids for the adoption. He was obviously willing to do it. I don't know that this marriage step was necessary. Conspiracy theory? I think it's a good one. It was their sneaky way to change everything around and have their union be the only legal one. Which also means that in the event of Kody's death, Robyn gets everything. And we're going to get to that in a second. We have the flashback scene where Kody's sitting on the couch talking to Janelle, and he asked her, did Robyn and Mery come talk to you regarding the adoption thing? And Janelle said, yeah, but she said this divorce and adoption, she said, it just really scares me because this is how it's been for so long. Mery has always been the first and only legal wife to Kody. And Kody's response to that, now this is a flashback episode, so we saw it, but I'm going to go over it a little bit. I might even put a clip in here just because it was so long ago that I know many people will have forgotten about it. Kody says, in this order, as long as Mery doesn't behave any differently, and as long as Robyn doesn't behave any differently, nothing will change. Isn't it telling that the first thing that came to his mind to say is, oh, this is going to be fine as long as Mery behaves herself? And then he realizes, well, shoot, there's another person in the equation here who might behave very differently too, so I better throw that in too. I just thought it was telling that the first thing out of his mouth was, as long as Mery doesn't behave any differently.
It changes the dynamic.
As long as Mery never behaves any differently, and as long as Robyn never behaves any differently, nothing will change.
As long as you don't behave any
I
differently.
won't behave any differently.
And Janelle follows it up with looking at Kody and saying, as long as you don't behave any differently. And he's like, oh, I won't.
If only that were true.
Oh, famous last words. He behaved completely differently. Everything was different. Although I'm not so sure that things weren't different before that happened. I'd have to go back and look at a timeline and see exactly when the marriage happened versus when this divorce was. I want to say that it was within a 2-year period of time, but I would think during that 2-year period of time already they were seeing a lot of favoritism towards Robyn. But maybe it was the favoritism that Christine referred to as new wife, understandable, he's going to spend more time with her, which, as we talked about, I completely disagree with. So I don't know when the Kody acting differently exactly happened to the point that the wives had a lot of red flags, but we know it happened. So Kody lied.
Ugh, again?
Did he know he was lying at the time? I don't know. Did he really think that he wouldn't treat Robyn any differently, being the wife? Well, you know what? He did. Right from the day they got married. because Mery said she wants to be there when they sign off in court, which is all they had to do. They just had to show up in court, sign the paperwork in front of a judge, and they were married, right? Well, Kody shows up in his suit and his hair all done and fancy shoes. It's like, what are y'all dressed up for? And Robyn shows up with dress pants and a blouse and sandals, freshly done hair at the salon, and brand new nails. Oh yeah, there was nothing special about this day whatsoever. And Kody wouldn't let Mery be there because he said, it wasn't significant at all. And yet, look at the two of them. They were like little teenagers who were sneaking away to be together. It was disgusting, actually, to watch, especially knowing how Mery wanted to be there and Kody agreed to it until he changed his mind and told Mery, no, you're not going to be there. And then to see how lovey-dovey they were. And I would also love to talk to production and find out, did Kody put his foot down and say no cameras in there? Because he made the comment, we couldn't have cameras in there because it was a legal proceeding and cameras weren't allowed. Yet, at that same court, we do see the proceedings for the adopting of the kids, and there were cameras in there. So are cameras allowed in the courthouse, or are cameras not allowed in the courthouse? I think the adoption of children is something that would be more apt to you want keeping off of film than just somebody getting married. In fact, a lot of times people come in with their own videographers because it's a point of time that you do want to document. I don't believe for a second, my personal opinion, I do not believe for a second that cameras were not allowed in there. I think Kody put his foot down and said, no cameras, so that they could have this private, romantic, intimate time together. Oh, I'm getting my blood pressure up just thinking about it. Let's go on. Oh, we can't go on. I have another line here. I tried. So Janelle says the legal marriage doesn't mean that much, but it's always been Mery, and it does hold sway in the distribution of assets if something were to happen to Kody. Janelle was already concerned about the fact that he's marrying Robyn because she said she always trusted Mery. If something were to happen to Kody, she trusted Mery would do right by all the sister wives, because she would have to be the one making all the decisions and distributing the funds because she was the legal wife. Janelle said, one thing I will say about Mery is that she has always been very honorable and very loyal, i.e. trustworthy, i.e. I don't know that Robyn is. Read between the lines. They cut back to Mery one more time where she says, that moment was so very painful, I did not want to do that. Oh, the sacrifices Mery's made in this polygamous marriage, honestly.
Our family, the agreement we had was that all your non-legitimate marriages are still legitimate in our family.
Robyn chimes in, it meant a lot to me and it meant a lot to my kids. Okay. And then Mery comes up at the end and said that she would do it again. She said she would do it again because it wasn't about her, it was about the kids. And it wasn't about Robyn. It was just about the kids. And this is where I go back to, could the kids have been covered under the auspice of Robyn being their mother as long as the father had given up all legal rights to them? I think so. I just don't think Mery thought of that. Let me know if I'm wrong. Any legal people out there, I have not gone through a divorce myself, so I don't know, but that just makes logical sense in my head. Kody's perspective on Mery giving this major sacrifice and divorcing him was, this was the beginning of the end for us because it was a power trip for Mery to be married to me.
It was some kind of power trip for Mery to be in that position. And then when she wasn't in that position, some weird things happened.
The way he spins things, honestly.
Certified jerk.
He said after that happened, she got catfish. She talked about leaving the family, which I think is part of the whole catfish thing, but he listed it as a separate thing. She disappeared for days or weeks on end. What? Okay, it's the first time we're hearing about this. No follow-up questions. Nothing in this talkback had follow-up questions, so fair. But what? Mery disappeared for days and weeks on end? And nobody knew where she was?
What?
Can we talk about this? I have so many questions. Why? Where did she go? Was it really weeks at a time? Did she really have no contact with anyone that they didn't even know if she was in her house or not? They had no idea where she was going or when she would be back. Really?
She got catfished. She talked about leaving the family. She disappeared for days, weeks on end.
But Kody's lied so much in this interview that I can't take that at face value. We need another look back / talk back where they can all respond to everybody's answers from this last one. Ideally, I think it's best if we can get everyone on a couch, because I feel like now the women are ready to speak up against Kody to his face. And they never were in the past. So it was good to keep them separate because they could speak their minds. But I think they're pretty good at speaking their minds now. I would love to get everybody together. Oh, a girl can dream. Okay. Now we flash back to the host Sedona scene when they were at the retreat, the healthy retreat with Nancy, their counselor there that just seems so hokey. I mean, I'm sorry. There's probably a lot of therapists on here that thought that was great, but I don't know. I've been in those, I've never done that in therapy, but I've been at those kind of like team building kind of things that I hated every single one of them. I went in with an open mind because I was eager to meet new friends and get to know people better and all that, but it just felt obvious and fake to me the whole time. So, and maybe we didn't have a good therapist either. Like Nancy doesn't seem like she's the best, but
in my opinion.
So we have Christine's reaction to the time when she first knew her marriage was broken. You know what's interesting about this? No tears. Robyn, looking back at happy times, bringing tears that make her sad. She's not smiling through the tears. Full on crying and sadness and depressed looking state from looking at a happy commitment ceremony. Christine has to talk about the moment she knew her marriage was over, and all she said when she looked at it was, oh, ew, I don't want to look at this. And he's like, can we look at it now? And she goes, okay. And picks up the iPad and off she went, because that's a healthy reaction.
The next one is the Sedona retreat. Do you want to watch it?
Ew. That's when I knew our marriage was really broken. Sure.
Life marches on, people. It's not all Skittles and rainbows, right? Is that beer and Skittles? Do people actually eat beer and Skittles? Or is that just a Kody comment?
It's not a thing.
So in Sedona, they had to do what was called a human sculpture. It's not a sculpture at all. Anyway, you just had to stand in relation to Kody where you thought you were in your relationship with him. And they kind of started as like a scatter point kind of thing where they were in different spots. But then, you didn't hear the talking in between. She probably said, what's your ideal? Because then they started working where they were kind of in a circle and Kody was part of the circle and Christine was upset by that. She's like, Kody, you need to be in the middle because you're the center of this family. And Kody didn't like that because he didn't want to be a wheel with a bunch of spokes sticking out of him.
Not me as the hub with a bunch of spokes poking into me.
He made it sound like a vain thing. Like, I don't want to have spokes sticking out of me. That's weird. No, it's imagery, Kody. It's imagery. You are holding the family together as the center of the wheel, and the wives all hold on to you because you are the center of this wheel. You are what makes it go around. If you're just on the outside with everybody else, what is holding it together? What is in the center? Now, if he came back with a response of, well, God is our focus and that's in the center, then I would give a little bit of leeway and understanding for that philosophical viewpoint. However, they're not living their lives demonstrating that God is the center of their lives. They don't talk about it anymore. They don't pray anymore. They don't go to church anymore. There's just no demonstration of it whatsoever. So I don't think it's a significant part of their lives anymore. Christine was upset when Kody wouldn't go in the center and have the wives around him because she considered it lazy. She interpreted it as he's just too lazy to be the man in charge who handles things. He just wants to be one of many. Kody's angry because he said he didn't want to be the center of the wheel. Oh, and he says something about love again that didn't make any sense. We're going to move on. Like if we go over one more time, Kody saying he was in love and then he wasn't in love and he was in love and he wasn't in love. I just can't wrap my brain around it anymore.
Wait for it.
Well, I have another line about it, so maybe we will cover it. I just have written down here that it didn't matter. He said that it didn't matter that he wasn't in love during this activity.
Didn't matter that I wasn't in love. That wasn't the focus of my relationships in my mind. Love was the focus, but being in love wasn't something I was really that worried about then.
And then he tries to quantify and redefine love. This is good.
When I speak of being in love or just love, they can be the same thing, but maybe we're talking about people who are acting out of duty or obligation. And then there's those who, are just easy to love because it just flows. It's a natural flow.
Janelle points out in this experiment that if Kody is not standing in the center of the circle, then he is closer to two wives than he is to the other two wives.
Good point.
And that defeats the whole purpose. This whole thing is supposed to be an imagery of where we want our family to be. And Kody wants to be standing next to Robyn and another wife. She didn't like it. Even though that other wife, I think, was her. Then there was some hokey little thing where Kody said, let's all put our heads together. This is how it should be, that all our heads are touching or something. Okay, whatever. Let's just talk about real things. You know why this bothered me so much is that Kody talks in riddles all the time. And he talks in sentences that don't make sense. He uses analogies that don't work, that are broken analogies. And so we spend so much time trying to decipher and figure out what the man is trying to say that we don't need an activity that's ambiguous. We have enough ambiguous language and ambiguous thoughts coming out of Kody. Don't give us one of these. Okay, I'm moving on. I am so sorry for all of the therapists out there that do these kind of activities. I'm sure everyone else does it a good way, and it's productive and meaningful. Christine said that she left the whole experiment, that was one of the saddest activities of her life, and it was sort of the beginning of the end when she realized her husband didn't love her anymore. So maybe it was productive in that it brought to light some stuff, but I don't think they dealt with those things. I don't think there was follow-up from Nancy saying, whoa, we're having a difficult time how we see each other. I just didn't see it. It may have happened. Maybe it happened. They just didn't show that on TV. But I think that would have been really good stuff to show on TV, explaining the dynamic of what somebody else sees from the outside of their family. Moving on. We are now at a restaurant in, I believe, Flagstaff. Kody and the wives were all sitting at this restaurant. And I believe Janelle brought them all together to try to find ways to have their family work together better again and to communicate better. And that was the intent behind it. And Kody came out at the beginning and he said, I don't want to be an advocate for plural marriage anymore because I'm aware of the apparent and obvious unfairness in the relationship. Well, isn't that interesting? Guess what? In my opinion, Kody, you don't have the right to have that revelation now, 20 years into it, with all of these children and wives. At this point, just follow through. Be a good guy. Be supportive. Be a good dad. Be present. Just do the right thing. Why is it so hard for him to do the right thing? Gosh, he's so selfish. It's all about him and his immediate feelings. You should have realized before you went into the polygamous marriage, Kody, that it was unfair to women. Just saying. And Mery's take on it was, make it fair then.
I couldn't figure out why Kody was like, oh, I'm not an advocate of polygamy anymore, because it's not fair to women. Well, then make it fair.
Yes, Mery, yes. Good job. Well, wake up, Kody. If you see a discrepancy and an unfairness in our family, let's make it fair.
Be a man and fix it.
Sometimes the most obvious things escape Kody. And then Kody follows up with, well, I don't know if I feel that way anymore. Now I think it is fair as long as you can leave.
Now, in this moment, I'm going, plural marriage isn't unfair as long as you can leave. You chose to be in, you can choose to leave. It's going to break everybody's hearts. It's going to be a mess. Maybe you shouldn't choose to be in if you can't choose to be committed to it.
Well, we know the wives always could leave, although Kody pitched a fit. He had a temper tantrum when Christine left, but nevertheless, they always could leave. We saw it from season 1, episode 1. Any wife has the right to leave anytime they want, and Kody added he would financially support them.
Well, that didn't happen.
And put them in the house next door. He did not buy any additional land for Christine or build a house for her. In fact, he made her give her property back. So that promise didn't come to fruition. But nevertheless, the talking point from the family had always been, we can leave at any time. We are not prisoners here. So Kody is talking about himself. Surprise, surprise, surprise. This is his personal selfish comment, and that is polygamy, where he originally thought was unfair to women, he now thinks polygamy is unfair to men because people should be able to leave. He wants to go. He wants to just walk away from all his kids and all his wives and just live monogamy with Robyn, which he now got and is now complaining that he got his wish. It is so maddening, people. Honestly. Well, as he attested to, he made everyone's life so miserable that they left first. The question came up, well, there were problems in the family, and what caused these problems? What was the precipice of it? Janelle acknowledged that the problems did start when Robyn came into the family, but she also recognized that at that same time, they went public, and they had the whole move to another state. So there were a lot of variables, and it was probably a combination of all of them. Christine said, I did not see proof that Robyn wanted the family. She said she did, but Christine didn't see it. Robyn adds, I know my intentions were always good. Good for you, Robyn. You know what? I believe her. I think she's just that dumb. Or that self-absorbed or that selfish. I think she just lived her life and in her ignorant state, she had an inability to empathize and understand what other people are going through. It was all about her. Kind of narcissistic too, right? How does everything affect her? And that's all that matters in her life. I am very curious over time to see what the kids say and how she reacts with her children, her actual biological children. Can she put them before her? She couldn't put friendships or her sister wives before her, and I don't think she puts Kody before her. Time will tell, right? Mery's response to that is, if I were to put the blame on one person, it would be Kody. She said that in her talk back in the last episode as well, too. It seems like Christine puts more onus or responsibility on Robyn and Mery puts more on Kody. But I think that might also be because Robyn and Christine just never got along. So we're at the restaurant and Kody says we need to decide if this is what we want or is this polygamy just something that our religion dictates. And then Kody adds in the talking head, what I'm trying to say in between the lines here is that are you married to me for a relationship with me? Or are you here because you're stuck?
What I'm saying in between the lines is, are you married to me, just for me, for a relationship with me? Or are you just here because you feel like you're stuck?
I find it interesting that those are the only two options. There's no family option and there's no sister wife option. Your only options are you married to me because you're totally into me? Or do you feel like you're just stuck here in this situation? Christine said that this was a very sad experience, this conversation here at the table, because it was when she first realized that Kody was done with polygamy. Christine said at this point she was already out of the church and the religion, but she chose to stay for the family. But Kody's talk made her think that he's done with the family and plural marriage. So we have another experience. Now this is post-COVID, because it is outdoors and they are all 6 feet apart from each other. Even though it's so maddening, you know that TLC required everybody on set, crew, family members, cameraman, producers, craft services people, everybody had to have a COVID test. I am sure it was in TLC's protocol. So they had a COVID test before doing the recordings, but they still all were 6 feet apart from each other and meeting outside. Another one of Robyn/Kody's rules. So in this scene, Janelle is bringing everybody together again because she decided she's going to bring a big pad of paper and they were going to write out rules to encourage positive communication amongst all the members of the family. That was the point behind it. She felt like we're not communicating well with each other and we need to establish some ground rules going forward. Going into this, in the talking head, Christine said she was very excited about Christine's always excited about everything they do. Christine was very excited about it because she felt like every time that there was a communication, she was never heard. So she thought maybe some of these rules would help remedy that and people will hear and understand what she's saying when she gives her opinion. At the picnic table, I don't know if this was right at the very beginning. It's the first scene that they're showing here in this clip, but Kody comes right out and says that he just doesn't care anymore. He's given up on the family. But he uses a little bit more flowery language.
My problem is I don't want to write anything down there because I don't give a anymore. I don't.
What do you mean?
Kody doesn't want to write anything down on the pad of paper. And why doesn't he want to write anything on the pad of paper? Here's his reasoning. Because when they meet, there is always this lack of respect for the values of others.
Most of the times when we meet at home or whatever, there's always this lack of respect for the values of others.
Whenever they meet together, there is always, I love it how he uses an absolute in this situation. Why? Because we're talking about Robyn. There is always a lack of respect for everyone else's values. What values, what does a lack of respect look like? How are they demonstrating a lack of respect? What behaviors are they doing or saying? What are the values we're talking about? Ambiguity. Is there an ambiguity song out there? If there is, it would be really good for this channel. Kody and his ambiguous language drives me crazy. Kody explains that there's not a lack of respect for morals or religion, just basic values, because we don't share them.
Okay, well, that explains basically nothing.
Basic values? What basic values would they not all share? This shocks me. I would love for him to explain himself. I don't know why nobody holds his feet to the fire.
There's always this lack of respect for the values of others. Because I'm not talking about morals, or I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about just basic values. We don't share them.
And Kody goes on to say, honestly, I'm at a point where I see the family in many ways as an obstacle to my own goals. Family is an obstacle in his way to his own personal goals, whatever those may be.
And honestly, I'm at a point now where I see the family in many ways as an obstacle to my own goals.
We don't know what the goals are. We don't know how or why the family is an obstacle. More ambiguous language. But we can appreciate the fact that Kody gave us another very self-centered, egocentric statement. My family is getting in the way of my own personal goals. Of course they are, Kody. So this is the first time that Kody has admitted, according to Janelle, that he doesn't want to be in a plural family anymore. And this is Janelle's reaction to that.
I feel like this was probably the first time he really verbalized that he felt like plural marriage was hindering him. Yeah, when he said, I see the family as my obstacle, I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, what a selfish bastard you are.
Robyn said this whole scene was just after COVID and Kody was in a dark place. Okay, what is this dark place? Let's define it, please. What does the dark place look like? What does that mean? Is it really bad? Is he getting help? Are we just using it as an excuse for his bad behavior? Janelle goes on to say, I realize that those are code words, values, that Kody uses to explain that other people don't believe the same way that he and Robyn believe.
I now realize so many of those code words, like we don't have the same values, meaning AKA you don't believe the way that Robyn and I believe, or you don't value the things we do.
So he always says, people don't all have the same values, but that means you all do not have the same values that the two of us do. And Christine, bless you, Christine, asks the question, not that we get an answer because she's just asking it hypothetically out there to the world, but it's the same question we've been saying, and that is,
what are your values? Because in a marriage, it seems like you're supposed to grow together. And if you're saying your values are different, then we've all grown apart.
Qualify it for us, please, Kody. What are the names of these values? And what are some examples that they're not the same as what we believe? Kody goes on to try to explain the difference between the values of the rest of the family and he. And when he gives his answer, we can probably all predict it. Let's turn it into a game. All right, people.
Welcome to Common Knowledge. I'm your host, Joey Fatone, and this is the show that asks those practical, everyday questions that everyone should know.
What is the difference in the values between the women in the Brown family? Is it A, one big house? Is it B, one big family? Is it C, being nice to your sister wife? Is it D, the catfishing affair? Or is it E, Christine? Lock in your answers now. And ding, 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 ding. If you chose B, one big family, you are a winner. We had a pretty safe bet going with one big family, one big house, and Christine. Answers to almost all questions in Kody's world. Kody, who is clearly having a very bad day and has his panties all up in a twist, then says this.
Yeah, the values that we don't share are the values of the one big family. Ladies, you never liked each other. We shouldn't have been a family if you don't like each other.
And Janelle is not having it. She is over Kody complaining that they do not all think alike on the topics that he cares the most about. One big family.
Dude, there's no rule that your families have to all be on the same page. The responsibility is yours to shoulder the burden and to take care of all of your families. Many plural families don't even live together. Most don't.
Can I just say, Kody, you are a big family, ya dork. Ugh. Because you won't talk to them on the phone right now does not mean you're no longer part of the family.
It doesn't work like that.
You're a dysfunctional family, as many are in the world, but you're still a family. Whether you choose to talk to them or not, whether you cut them off or not, you're still one big family. Pay attention, please. Can we get this straight so we don't have to go over this again? We have an interview with Mery where Mery thinks that Kody was fine with her and Christine and Janelle not being in his life. And she felt like he was doing actions and taking steps to push all of them out. Kind of seems that way, doesn't it? Except for with Janelle. I don't think he wanted to push Janelle out.
I think that he would disagree, but I think that he had already was okay with me and Janelle and Christine not really being in his life and was doing whatever he could to emotionally push us away.
I think Janelle did a lot for him. I think she was the smartest, the most mature, the one who handled the books and the finances, all the stuff that he has to do himself now. I think Janelle handled a lot in that family. So losing her was a big loss. The other two, he totally pushed away. And then for the camera, acted like he was beside himself when Christine actually went away. We're not going back there. I can't. I have a slight headache already today. I don't need to push it over by circling this wagon again.